friends, hi! Thank you for watching. My name is Mia and this is my virtual vanity, a place where we both love makeup and we're quite critical of it. Today I'm doing another one in my aesthetics inspired Shop My Stash series, in which I pick a particular aesthetic and I go shuffling around, looking through my collection for things that I think would fit the particular themes, color palettes of said aesthetic. Today I am doing cottagecore. I also have videos on light academia and dark academia. I will link them down below. If I have any discount codes for the products listed here, they'll also be down below, and all of the products will be listed and linked. What is cottagecore? Cottagecore is a rural, pastoral type of aesthetic of a fantasy. Much like light academia and dark academia, it takes all of the good things of that particular lifestyle that it tries to emulate. It romanticizes them up to 100 and ignores, the harsh realities or the inconveniences of actually, living a rural type of lifestyle. Cottagecore is focused on a return to nature, to pastoral activities, to homemaking in the sense of keeping a garden, baking, a connection to nature, living in the forest, or at least in a very natural, non-urban area, something that hasn't been very much touched by human technology. There's lots of beautiful milkmaid type of dresses, peasant blouses, shepherd and shepherdess type of outfits, natural fabrics, comfortable materials, garden tones, earth tones. So my picks were very much inspired by that sort of color palette. You will see here a lot of florals, a lot of pinks inspired by the rosy cheeks and rosy lips that seem very prevalent. Makeup wise, I've not seen cottagecore be very heavy on the eyeshadow, but I will still present a few eyeshadow options that I feel fit the color or the theme, and then you can amp up or amp down as much as you'd like. Now, the funny thing about cottagecore is that in essence, it's really not new. The concept of Arcadia, which is a pastoral heaven where nobles, several centuries past nobles and philosophers romanticized this whole shepherdess type of lifestyle. It existed from like a while back. Even Marie Antoinette, she literally built herself a little village so she could cosplay as a peasant. So it's nothing new to want to return to a more tight-knit, close to nature type of lifestyle where you actually make things with your hands, where you are not alienated from the nature of your work, where you see when you work the results, like the things you sow, the things you bake, the animals you care for, the garden that grows. Okay, I think I've babbled enough about cottagecore. Let's just start with the makeup, okay? Okay, let's start with primers and base products. I have 3 over here that I want to talk about. So the first one would be the Milani Prep and Soothe Camellia Face Oil. Now, I'm not going to be dripping these oils on my hand because that is an invitation to disaster. Why I like this is because it's very hydrating. It does have a very slight, pleasant floral scent, but I wouldn't say it's overpowering. It's really good, especially in the winter time. If you just put a light layer of this, you let it sink in, and then you put whatever choice of foundation or base, it gives the face a very plump, hydrated sort of look. Did I choose this because it has flower extract, specifically camellia? Yes. If you're European and you have access to Alverde, I really recommend this Bio Wild Rose Oil. I use this as hydration in the winter over my moisturizer. I use this as a makeup base, again, winter, autumn. This also smells pleasantly floral. I think I'm on my 4th or 5th little bottle of this. Now, cottagecore is also big on, gardening, picking up fruits, cooking. So I picked this Peach Sea Peach Glow makeup base because it literally smells like peach pastry, like a peach croissant or something peach jam filled, and now I'm hungry. This illuminates the face so prettily. It makes it look dewy, luminescent, hydrated, works well under all sorts of makeup. Let's talk lipsticks. For cottagecore, the way that I see the lip aesthetic is very rosy, but leaning neutral. So not towards a fuchsia, not towards a red, more towards maybe a deeper dusk rose pink, or you know, true neutral tones. So I've got here 5 lipsticks across all sorts of price points, and we will start with the most bougie. This is Charlotte Tilbury Pillow Talk, and this is a neutral soft rose lipstick. This is a comfortable matte formula. It's a bit of a recent purchase in my collection, but I'm finding myself wearing it quite a lot. The hype for this is real, and if your skin tone is one that plays well with these sorts of tones, it's amazing. It really reminds me of a very soft garden rose. Then we've got the MAC French Silk Love Me lipstick, and this is more of a wild flower, forest flower pink. I do enjoy it, but it reminds me a bit of drugstore lipsticks. So if you're interested in this one, I do recommend picking it up on a sale, but the color is gorgeous. For another swipe of pink, and this time in a blurring matte velvet formula, this is the PerIPera Ink Velvet in Hush Pink Beige. Again, in the same garden rose color family. This I really like using blotted or gradiented Korean style. This is a very interesting formula because it is kind of silicone-y, kind of velvety. It smooths, it blurs, it's matte, but you don't really feel it on the lips. There is some transfer, so this isn't a liquid lipstick, but it's a really interesting formula, and I do recommend this whole line from PerIPera. This is the Na Ming Sheer Tinted Lip Balm, and this is in Days. This is, you know, what the name suggests, is very dewy, very sheer, very hydrating. I really like this. I think it's one of those my lips but looking more hydrated type of shades. Last but not least, for a more neutral option, I've got the NYX lip gloss in Praline, which looks a bit intimidating swatched, but on the lips it just neutralizes the color. It really doesn't come across as this on my lips unless I really layer it. This is a very comfortable hydrating formula. These are a cult classic for a reason, and there are so many colors of this. I have a lot of blush choices for this aesthetic, and that is simply because I love me a good rosy blush. So this duo by Jouer is in Adore Me. Now, something to note about this is the packaging annoys the crap out of me because this lifted over here and I had to super glue it. So your mileage may vary, but I really do like the tones inside because they are very my cheeks but better tones, at least on my skin tone. You've got a lighter option and a darker option, and they're both rosy to peachy sort of tones, so not a Barbie pink, not a harsh pink. I like to use these both individually and mixed. This is a bit of a bougie choice, and I got this on sale as well. I picked this because it smells like Bulgarian rose, and also because of the rose imprint, and I feel it's really very aesthetic. It's a pain to photograph and to film because it's so reflective though. This is the ByTerry Beach Bomb, and I feel that it's like their limited edition summer palette for this year. Particularly the things that I find cottagecore-ish are the blushes. So this corally sort of blush. I really like the bronzer as well, but not as a bronzer. It's a bit too warm for me as a bronzer. I like to use it as a sheer neutral blush. And then the highlight, a very subtle highlight. So if you're into barely there highlights, maybe you would enjoy this. I would argue that maybe this pink as well would fit the theme, but it's a bit too cold pink, so it doesn't necessarily fit the aesthetic. The Patrick Ta, She's So Passionate, again another beautiful rosy peachy pink. I don't know, this blush makes me feel like I look luxurious every time I wear it. I think it's something in the shade. It makes me feel like a grown woman. And it's a very English rose, sophisticated type of look. Flower petal sort of shades, like a rose slowly blooming on your cheeks, but without making you look like you got sunburned. This is Nabla Lola, and this is a more pigmented sort of shade. I feel that this on a deeper skin tone than mine would give that English rose look. I have to be careful with it and layer it in sheer washes of color or it gets a bit too much. But I feel this leans towards that traditional rosy cheek, shepherdess, very strong, appealing, flush type of aesthetic. I've got two cream blushes that I want to talk about, and the first one is Fenty Petal Poppin'. This is a sweet pink, very beautiful. It doesn't dry down completely, but it doesn't remain sticky either. And it's really easy to blend with my fingers, which is the preferred method that I use when using cream blushes. A brand that you might not often hear about, this is Stasy Alex Matte Glaze. And this is a multi-purpose product for eyes, lips, cheeks. This is a more mauve-y, darker, duskier type of shade, but it really looks a lot better sheared out. Let me just... Now this, I don't apply directly to the face. I put it on a metal palette or whatever makeup palette that you like to use. Pick just a little up with my finger, put it on the apples of my cheeks or on the cheekbones directly, depending on which blush placement I want to go for. For highlighter, I have two choices. So the first one would be Nabla Privilege, which on me is a very soft rosy highlighter. I picked this because I don't know why, but it reminds me of flower petals. The softness, the sheen, the fact that it's not very obvious on my cheeks unless the light catches it quite right. I really like this whole formula. I also have one in Ozone, which I really enjoy. Then I've got a Focallure highlighter in HS01, and this is from their flower collection. It's relatively new. Now this is a champagne highlighter, right? I wouldn't say that this is particularly unique color-wise or finish-wise, but it's a very, very pretty champagne highlighter, and I picked this because look, it's got a flower imprint. Because again, cottagecore is really big on making your own food, harvesting your own food, making pies, specifically fruit pies, sometimes flower pies. I've never had a pie that had like flower filling in it, but I really want to. Also, if you've never had any, I do recommend dandelion wine or dandelion syrup with mineral water. It's just, this I really like because it's a bit of a blush bronzer combo on my skin tone. It's neutral enough that I can use it as a bronzer, but it's also rosy enough that in the summer it can be used as a blush as well. My cheeks got caught in the sun when I was out gardening and turning my lawn completely feral because we should abolish lawns and let weeds and other bee-loving plants grow all over, if you ask me. Let's talk eyeliner, and then I promise we're going to get to the part that everyone's waiting for, aka eyeshadow. I feel that for a cottagecore aesthetic, a black eyeliner would be too harsh, so I present to you some of my favorite brown liners. And you may need to ask, Mia, why do you have multiple? Because they're all different, okay? They're different finishes, different formulas, different vibes. The Sephora Collection Colorful Eyeliner in NO3, the brown one, you can't really miss it. This is really good for a really fine cat eye, and I like the applicator because it does give you a lot of control. If you prefer pencil liners, a really good drugstore option would be the Rimmel Scandal Eyes, and this is again in 003 brown. This is a deep tree bark brown with some shimmer running through it. Then we have the Neve Cosmetics Closing Time, which technically is a lip pencil. Practically, I use Neve Cosmetics pencils on both eyes and cheeks. This is a matte, again, a tree bark, like an older tree maybe. This is very blendable and very smooth on the thing that it is a lip pencil, right? Let's talk eyeshadow. My first pick is the Huda Beauty Khaki Haze. This hasn't had the best reviews, but I honestly really enjoy it. It's got the classic Huda Beauty matte formula, and it's got these sheer shimmery, if you've been here for a while, you know I'm a sheer shimmery type of girl. Wonky swatches, but you can see what this is about. This beautiful pink that again reminds me of flower petals. You've got these beautiful multi-dimensional shimmers. You've got earth tone khaki greens that I feel might work really well for a subdued green garden in autumn type of look. Something a bit different, more saturated. This is the Focallure Glam Eyes in 03, the Glamour Muse. This again reminds me a bit of Summer Garden because you've got these beautiful buttercup sunflower yellow type of shades, this solar and this foliage type of shimmer. I think it's a really pretty, well done quad. And you can go multiple ways about it. Like you've got this that reminds us, of course, of the floral, foliage, gardening part. These colors that are very sunny, but floral as well, like flowers do comes in these colors. And then this neutral type of shimmer. I really enjoyed this little quad. And I particularly like doing a nude or a yellow in the crease and then a neutral lid. I feel that that is a really easy introduction to getting into color for someone that is intimidated, because a yellow is much closer to you know, a cream or a medium brown than any other color. So it's easy to like put that in the crease, use whatever you're comfortable for in the lid, and you know, dip your waters into the world of more colorful makeup. This is Stasy Alex Golden Kinglet. And again, this reminds me of a garden. You've got flowers blooming over here. You've got these different greeny earth tones, and this shade that reminds me of sunshine over a rose bush. And you will see why, because it has a very pretty reflect. So these are the two shimmers. And maybe you can see the reflect on my fingers. I feel it shows better on the lids. This is an interesting shade because it's sort of a matte, satin matte type of shade, and it's a really interesting tone that I've rarely seen. It's almost like a mustardy, greeny undertoned yellow neutral. These khaki shades show up more desaturated on the lid unless you pack them on. I really enjoy them. I've got a various array from all sorts of indie brands here. Neve Cosmetics Unicorno and Neve Cosmetics Passisonfruit. One is a golden to green duochrome, and then the other is a terracotta matte shade. The swatch shows up much more pigmented than it does on the lids. On the lids, it adds a bit of a rosy definition. You can also use it as a blush. Really pretty. MAC Woodwink. You can tell why I picked this one. Again, it's a very neutral, natural shade with a bit of a pop. This flash of gold, of sunlight in the garden through the trees type of vibe going through it. Bernovich 168, again a very forest-like shade. We've got this tree bark, brown soil type of base, and then leaves rustling in the wind in its duochrome. Speaking of green flashes, also a classic Colourpop Tea Garden, which can be sheared out, and then you've got a little flash of green on your lids. Luxie Beauty Blitzen. Doesn't look like it could fit here, but I think this is a more forest fairy, cottagecore type of vibe. This is Bernovich N05, and this is the Sydney Grace Green Mango, which are two greens with two different vibes. I would say that the Bernovich one is a crisp green apple, while the green mango one is leaves on a summer's day. Then we've got Glamshop Steryd and Epigram. These I would say are more towards satins, right? They're shimmers, but they're not that reflective. They're not as sparkly. This one has got like a green, a very finely milled shimmer glitter through it. Epigram, it just reminds me of flowers in a garden. That is all. It's got yellow and it's pink, colors that I associate with sunlight and with pretty flowers. Bernovich X45, Bernovich X44, and one of my favorite eyeshadows in my collection, Nabla Water Dream. X45 is an orange to yellow green, so a very summer cottagecore shade. X44 is a very subtle base of like yellow cream color with a pinkish gold shimmer, and then Nabla Water Dream is a cream base with sparkly silver shimmer running throughout it. This reminds me of sunlight hitting water, the water of the sea or the water of a pond. It's one of my favorite shades, and honestly, if I had to wear one eyeshadow for the rest of my life, I would pick this one because it goes in all scenarios, in all situations, with all sorts of looks on the face. I'm done. These have been my cottagecore inspired makeup picks. I would love to know down in the comments below if you have any makeup in your collection that reminds you of cottagecore or that makes you feel particularly cottagecore, even if the packaging or the color doesn't fit, you know, the restraints of the aesthetic. Thank you guys so much for watching. In the future, I have planned more of the series. I want to do fairy core, mermaid core, cyberpunk. If there is any aesthetic that you would like me to cover, leave a comment down below and I will put it on my list to do. Have a great evening, morning, second breakfast, third lunch, or whatever it is you're from. Bye!